Right, you're looking at the Lincoln Memorial right now. Of course, this is the Make America Great concert, one of many events that will kick off and include and run through tomorrow down to events planned late into tomorrow evening to commemorate the quadrennial event we call inaugurations. Not so much just for this individual attaining the White House, but the White House, these institutions, something Florida Governor Rick Scott and I were getting into, that this is a day that no matter your vote preferences, I think we could fairly say, Governor, this is a day to celebrate America.
Don't you love color guards? Don't you love the Star Spangled Banner? Makes you feel good.
Stunning.
They should have done Anchors Away. I was in the Navy, so I was looking forward to Anchors Away. But
that could come. That could come. That
sure will come.
We were talking a little bit too about getting into the nitty-gritty after all the pomp and circumstance, and one of those things will be this health care law and finding a replacement for it after repealing it. Are you worried that the longer that gap is, the more problematic it could be?
And look, we've got to repeal it. It's caused premiums to go up. People are having a difficult time paying for their health care, whether it's an individual, a company, or taxpayers. We've got to repeal it. We've got to come up with something that's going to give people access.
But a lot of Republicans are getting worried. You've seen the CBO study that upwards of 20 million more down the road, if you factor in those who would normally get it in the cycle of events, up to 36 million won't get it or have it removed by 2026 if we repeal it. Well, that's obvious. If you repeal it, they'll replace it. But how soon should they replace it?
You know,
this is someday. Dear friends, fellow Americans, I'm so honored to be here to welcome you all to the inauguration of the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. We have all been witness to a very grueling year and a half for the president-elect. We have been witness to a barrage of propaganda that left us all breathless with anticipation, not knowing if God could reverse all the negative lies against Mr. Trump, whose only desire
We're monitoring this with the actor John Boyd here. I want to bring Senator Mark Warner, Democrat from the fine state of Virginia. Senator, I know you got a busy schedule here, and you've been hearing back and forth with all the, obviously, cabinet nominees. You do your own grilling there, and I won't go back on that. I guess what I'm asking is, on the cabinet appointments that you've seen, any chance that one or two of them don't get through? Or do you think that in the end, they all get through?
Well, obviously, if any of them don't get through, that means a number of Republicans will have to vote against them. They've got the numbers to push this through. I've got questions about a number of the nominees. Some, like Mike Pompeo, who will be director of CIA, I'm going to support and vote for. I know there'll be others I'll support. But I felt bad for some of these nominees because I believe, and I don't blame them necessarily themselves, that a lot of folks with no previous experience in business or in politics, and I don't know if the transition officials got them ready enough and they had seemed to rush through these last few days in terms of getting their ethics and FBI and other reports in.
Let's talk a little bit about Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury choice. Much has been made of the fact that if we ever have another financial meltdown, that would the U.S. do what it did then? Do you think that, and I think he ruled out, for example, any more bank rescues, but do you agree with that we shouldn't have that?
Well, I think you've got to have a way, if you have a crisis, to unwind one of these massive financial institutions, whether that is through bankruptcy or through the Title II component of Dodd-Frank, which was bipartisan. We can debate that, but I think there's got to be an orderly liquidation process. What I did like about Mr. Mnuchin today was he said, unlike the president-elect, that he was going to make sure that we stand by and don't play chicken with the full faith and credit of the United States of America, which occasionally the president-elect during the campaign made comments that rattled the markets. We've seen 2 days ago the headlines of the Wall Street Journal where the president made comments about whether the dollar should be strong or not. These are kind of unprecedented. The good news about Mr. Mnuchin today was he said, you know, we're going to never mess with the full faith and credit of the United States. We're going to honor our debts. We're not going to have this process that some Republicans have proposed where you might prioritize paying off bondholders but not paying the obligations of the federal government to the states. That would be crazy from a financial
Well, I think he was referring, but I think, Senator, he was referring to if you don't come to an agreement on raising the debt ceiling, which I think becomes an issue in March. And that's what this president, Barack Obama, has had to weigh with his Treasury, right? I mean, we have to prioritize our bills, right? You don't like to be in that position, but...
Neil, there's never anyone I've heard that understands the financial markets, and you understand the financial markets, would somehow say, we're going to go through the debt ceiling and then pick which bills we're going to pay. We're going to pay bondholders, oftentimes foreign investors, overpaying Social Security or overpaying the bills of the states, which rely on federal transfer payments. That's just not a way to operate, particularly when you're the reserve currency and in a very
But it happens.
challenging
I think
world.
what's been
Well,
referred to is that no, where we have to make a priority if we don't raise our debt ceiling. That's happened under Republican Democrats alike, right?
My hope would be, Neil, that we'd end up not having
Gotcha.
another debt ceiling crisis.
Okay. Hopefully we can avoid that. You're right about that. It's a bipartisan sort of goal.
Amen.
But Senator, let me get your take on this phenomena. So many of your Democratic colleagues in the House not going to this inauguration tomorrow. I think we're up to 68 or so. Not a single U.S. senator has done that.